Climbers, with over 300 episodes under our belt, let's take a look back at some of the value bomb quotes and insights that will help you create leverage in the music business. We're going way back. So buckle up, Marty. Get that DeLorean up to 88 miles per hour. Johnny, do your thing. That was my worst Back to the Future ever. It's early. Great Scott!
Welcome to the club! This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. That's what you're going to need. This podcast exists because we want you to win. This podcast will help you reframe your brain, your strategies, everything you need to be an indie artist, to be an indie songwriter, to get the things that you want to be successful. It's easier now than it ever was before, but you've got to do the work yourself, and you have to be approaching it the right way from the songwriter business standpoint, with your content, from the indie artist standpoint, and all of that's why we called it the C.L.I.M.B. C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business. That's a backstory from my good friend and co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter, who is also, not for nothing, a man of God, a father of five, and an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady A, Joe Nichols, and more. Also happens to be my friend, not for nothing, a very good friend of mine.
Definitely not for nothing.
And you can find, what I love about Brent, before you go find him, let me tell you what you're finding him for. He helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you write like a pro, do business like a pro, and then on the regular, he gets you in touch with the pros. And this is legit, y'all. All relationships are being created, songs are being cut, songs are being put on hold. I mean, this is not this ain't no hustle here. This is real. This is the real stuff. All right. Find Brent at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my friend and co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. They're breaking artists digitally by identifying new fans through data. If you're an artist looking to increase your streams, blow up your video views, sell more live show tickets, and get discovered by new fans, TV, and music industry pros, then Daredevil Production can help. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. This production singular, no S, and there's no S because there is no other Johnny D. And might I add that while you notice that my intro is pretty much always exactly the same, Johnny has an intro written out too. And it's pretty much never the same. And that sums us up. That sums us up. Johnny, how's it going?
Never the same. Never the same. I'm working on a different intro here. I'm flirting with some stuff. This is like my live sort of, when how you test a new song out.
Exactly.
And do that. So
you're testing it in the clubs and all that good stuff. Yeah.
So I'm flirting with some stuff, and I had this great idea last night, and then I think I kind of fumbled the football a little bit, but I was like, I didn't get the first down I wanted, or the touchdown, but we got some forward yardage on it.
Well, that's good.
I think I'm going to do a better job of explaining what the heck it is that we do and what this podcast is about, like right out the gate. I think that couldn't wait, couldn't wait. So what are we gonna learn today, buddy?
Well, so I've been having some of my awesome interns going through. Specifically, Molly does a bunch of these for me, but Molly and Chantal, they've been going through and they've been finding quotes out of old podcast episodes because we're a media company, basically, right? Just like singers and songwriters out there, media companies. So hey, let's go through. Let's start at episode 0. Find some quotes, throw them up on a graphic so we can share them out on socials and stuff. So I've just been looking through some of those and through old episodes, and it's funny. Well, they'll bring me a stack when we do our intern meeting each week, and here's some quotes. I'm like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. Wow, yeah, I agree with that guy, being me, and that's good that I agree with myself 5 years later. But anyway,
I know, right?
Yeah. So far, there hasn't been one of those where I was like, let's just get rid of that one, lose that one out the back,
Pretend I never said that. Pretend
delete.
It's not like you're a politician. You're a real person.
Exactly. And so anyway, so I was going through those, man, some of these are really good points. Let's just go back and just do, we just hit episode 300 a couple episodes ago. So let's go back and just do a little retrospective on some of these bullet points, these tweetables that from some 6 years ago episodes and some newer ones too. So I thought we'd just dive into some of that, some just value bombs or just a little sampler platter of value.
I love that. Okay, I think this is cool. I mean, you give me some ideas maybe for some future stuff on my side on the even episodes.
That's
You know,
right.
on the even. So
See, because
before we do that,
Johnny gets all the big ones. He gets all the even ones. So that's all your 100s, 200s, 300s, 350s, 400s. I get like, we're celebrating episode 101,
well, that's
301.
what you get when you end up like on a long show like this and you end up being first. Oh,
Exactly.
uh-oh, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I just thought about that in my head right now. I was like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah.
how did that happen? Because he went first."
I
Oh.
went first. Who knew?
All right. Well, hey guys, let's take care of some business. As always, we're super proud to be a part of the American Songwriting Magazine's podcast network, otherwise known as ASPN. This has been going on for a year now. There's 15 shows on there, including ours. So if you haven't made your way over to americansongwriter.com/podcast to look at the other shows, please do so. There's some really cool stuff on there. And if you found us through americansongwriter.com/podcast, see what I did there? See how I did that?
I see that. I see
Then welcome to the climb. We
that.
love having you, and please tell a friend about it. Now, 15 shows. It's a lot to go through. Your time starved like everybody else. We get that. Guess what? American Songwriter got a solution for that. They thought of everything. What is it, Brent?
Ooh, they do the Suncast. See, the Suncast is a really neat thing. So if you go to americansongwriter.com/Suncast, that's SUN, sun is in bright sunny day, but also is in Sunday. What they do is every Sunday they curate the top 5 episodes from across the American Songwriter Podcast Network. They curate those, they put them together, package them up in a nice little email for you, and they send it to you for free. So you can go, oh, here's what's going on The Climb. Here's what's going on in Pitch List. Here's what's going on in the Zach Kuhn show. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but his podcast is good. And anyway, you do that, and then it shows up every Sunday in your email inbox. It's nice. They do some of that curation work for you. So again, it's top 5. It's the americansongwriter.com/Suncast, SUNCAST. So like podcast on Sunday, Suncast. Get what they did there?
There you go. All right. And join the Climb community. That is facebook.com/groups/the Climb community. You've got to ask to be let in, but don't worry, we let everybody in. And this is singers, songwriters, indie artists, indie musicians. We've got pro people in there too. We've got some execs in there that I know about personally. They're just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on and what we're saying. This is your chance to be a part of that, just to be a part of the community, add value to the community, get value from the community, talk about your wins, hook up co-writes, ask questions about promotion, digital stuff, social media stuff, and you're going to get some great answers. It's also a place for you. Again, these are peers. This isn't your audience to sell to. Okay. Right. This isn't your consumer audience. These are the people you're going to find hanging out backstage at your show because they're part of that community too. Hey man, great show. I really dug the guitar sound. I love the song you did, blah, blah, blah. So treat them as such, I think is the point that we're trying to put across here. Now, we give you opportunities to social share. We give you New Heights on Wednesday wins. We kind of call it by two different names, but you can brag about your wins and talk about the stuff you got coming up and get a bunch of high fives and attaboys and attagirls. We like that. We've got, you can talk about your gigs. We give you a place to shout out just about every itch you want to scratch when it comes to just letting people know what you're up to. Just put it in the right place. That's all you got to do. Easy peasy, or you're going to get roadhoused out. And I am Dalton, and I've been doing it, and I'm doing it, and you'll get a message, and it's not a nastygram, but it's like hey, put this in the right place. We want to hear about it. Don't screw up the main feed. The main feed. We protect our community here, Brent.
That's
you and me, we we make sure that they're safe, that they're not getting inundated with crap. So if you're going to do anything in the main feed, make sure it's for everybody in your music. You know, not for everybody, but certainly news, funny
Mhm.
stuff, anything that's songwriter oriented, musician oriented, it's relevant and personal to this audience, they're going to appreciate it. Put that in there. Otherwise, if it's about you, want to hear that too, just put it in the right places. Everybody
Yep,
get that? All right.
that's right.
So
So the
subscribe.
way. Oh,
Oh, wait,
go
we
ahead.
got to win. We got wins. We got
Well,
wins. What do
we
we got?
definitely got wins, but as we're talking about this, it makes me think about, this is like you operate in the climb community like you would if you walked into the writer's room with somebody, right? You don't just walk
Oh,
in
so
there.
smart.
Well, it only took us 303 episodes. So you walk in there
We're always evolving, Brent.
and you don't just walk in and be like, before you even write the song, be like, hey, my new single's about to drop. You give me a like and a share. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Let me play you my new song. Let me play you this other song I wrote with somebody that's not you, right? That's kind of annoying, really.
Hey,
Sometimes
how you doing? I'm Johnny. Hey, check this out. This is
check
all my
out,
stuff. Aren't I awesome?
I
Hey,
know. Hey,
this is
check
my
this
new
out.
song. Check this out. Like, it's awesome. Like, did you see the clothes I wore last night? So cool. Like, I love it. I'll hook you up with that person if you want. But listen, enough about me, enough about what I think about me. What do you think about me?
Exactly. Not very useful. However, in a co-write, you might share some news like, hey, so-and-so's looking, or hey, I got a question, by the way, hey, what do you think about this, mechanical licensing collective? Oh, well, yeah, let's talk about that. Or, hey, I hear so-and-so's looking for songs, or, hey, here's you can do that kind of stuff, ask questions.
Yeah. Hey,
And then
I got
there's
my first interview coming up. Anybody got any suggestions on how I'm supposed to handle this so I can be as cool as possible?
yeah, that kind of stuff is appropriate, like in a co-write, but you don't just bust up in there just playing songs you wrote with other people. Hey, this is what I wrote yesterday. You're like, great. I was kind of hoping to write something today.
Check out
So,
my new shoes. Are these jeans too tight on me? I should buy a boat. Hey,
yeah. So, and again, there's a place to share your gigs. We have the gig alert. We have the social share. That way, people have an outlet for that, and people want to find each other. Then we facilitate that, so they know where to go and look for you. But we try to keep the feed clean with questions, answers. Yeah, funny stuff that's music related is fun because yeah, you'll go into a co-write like, oh, dude, I saw this thing was hilarious. But we keep it music related. So anyway, you want to kind of conduct yourself like you would in a co-write, which is not just interrupting the flow of your song, playing the song that you wrote yesterday with somebody else. So anyway, we do have some wins. And actually, I'm going to hop out of the Climb group on Facebook for this because I'm going to hop over to American Songwriter Magazine, which showed up on my doorstep the other day with beautiful Dave Grohl on the cover. I don't know if he's beautiful,
man,
but
I
he does
gotta
have these
fix my
simmering eyes.
thing. I don't get the magazine anymore. Like, I
You
just
got to talk
bought
to them.
one. Like, we get one. They offered it to us because American Songwriter is cool, and all the people that are working for them, like the podcast, like, hey, here's a subscription. You're
Mhm.
cool. But before they did that, and they did it pretty quick, but I was just so excited. I'm like, I gotta re-up my subscription to American
Mhm.
Song. So I did it. So like I'm on the books as a paying one, and then I didn't re-up it because I get it and I just have to call them and say, hey, send that stuff, but I'm missing these episodes. And I know what
Yeah.
you're about to say, but go on. But I'm sad because I don't have it.
I know you. It's fun to hold it in your hands. So
I know.
anyway, so this new episode with Dave Grohl on the cover, and anyway, each month they do like the lyric contest, and so I got my episodes or my issue, so I'm flipping through it, looking, and what do you know? I see some familiar names. I see some climbers in here. So under the honorable mentions for the lyric contest, we have Kathy Wallace. Congrats, Kathy. We see Blake Bard on there
Kathy
twice.
Wallace, Blake Bart,
That's right, and Bill O'Hanlon.
Pillow Hanlon. I got a
That's
story
right.
about you. I got a story about that. I share with you.
Oh boy. So there's some other names here that if you're a climber and I just don't know you yet, my bad. But I know that at least 4 of the songs represented are by climbers in the new episode or the new issue of American Songwriter magazine. So congrats to y'all. Keep on climbing. That was fun to see that and post that out and share it on socials. Like, oh, my worlds are colliding. My American Songwriter world and my climb world. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, super hardcore shout out to the honorable mentions and everybody for getting in there. Number one, that's awesome. Number two, I just want to say this, and I'm speaking about you and me, Brent, and all climbers. I envy us.
That we know these people.
I envy us. Yeah, like we are, like we're cool. It's an honor to be in our like to be one of us. Like I love it. I'm super cocky about that, man.
That's funny.
I'm unabashedly cocky about that. I love it. And so get this, dude. You
Mm-hmm.
know how O'Hanlon is like everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So this past weekend, remember I told you I was flying up to Chicago to go see Mackenzie O'Brien. She had a killer direct support slot for Parker McCollum, who's a major label MCA artist, at Joe's on Weed Street, which is a killer club, by the way. Like super fun. And Ray's like, hey man, I think you should think about maybe working with her and producing her, right? Because she needs to go a little bit more rock and roll, and she's trying to make some changes. Her stuff's evolving, and I think she's evolving like into your orbit. Would you check her out? And I was like, of course I'll check her out. And so had a conversation with her father and had a conversation with Mackenzie. And then I thought, you know what? And we got nothing here, nothing, no contracts, no nothing. I want to see what she's made out of, So, and there's like two stories going on here that I just want to share with her. So before that, Mackenzie calls me and she's like, hey, I got this big gig, and what advice do you have? Like, what should I do? Right? Like, do you have any advice? Like, how do I maximize this?
Yeah.
And I thought, first of all, what a great phone call to get.
Yes.
Right. Like, what don't I know? Tell me what don't I know?
Yes.
And so I said, okay. And what do I go to? I go to Tom Jackson. Immediately. Let's talk about your live show. I said, most artists are going to, she had a 40-minute set in an opportunity like this. It was sold out. Okay. So you're going to have a throng of fans, like a throng of people to win over. And I said, the first thing an artist goes to is like, how many songs can I pack into this 40 minutes? How many originals, right?
Yeah.
And wrong answer. You want moments. You could have all nothing but hit songs and play, but they're going to hear them once and you're going to go on to the next one, and they're not going to remember the song because they only heard it once. It's the first time they heard it. Yeah. So what you want to do is create moments. And so I said, I want you to do two things here, because this is a phone call. I don't have time to, fly there early and kind of work with her. But I said, it's your voice is what's going on here. It's all about your voice. Ray told me she could sing. And so I said, open the show, whatever song you're going to open the show with, go right to the chorus, but start out just you and an acoustic guitar and just sing that chorus, but vamp on it, just drag it out. Like, don't try to go in the tempo or something. Just set that up, announce your presence with authority, then kick into the song. And she said, okay, oh, I like that. Okay, that's a good idea. And then I said, I think you should throw a cover in there, And she goes, well, we were thinking about doing, and I forgive me, I can't remember the name of the song, but it's like, I think the first or the second biggest Cranberry hit, right? I think maybe the biggest one was Zombie, right? The Cranberries. Zombie. And maybe Linger's another one, but it wasn't Linger. It was a third one. It was, but it was huge, right? It was a really big hit. But I said, you know what? I like, this is a really good song. I like where your head is at. You're trying to give them some candy. This is a smart move. But I said, what else? Why wouldn't you choose like Zombie? Because everybody can sing along to that, right? Yeah. And that's what I want. I want everybody to sing with you, And she goes, well, this other song we were thinking about doing was like Dreams from Fleetwood Mac. And I'm like, that's the song. Okay. Yeah. I said, that's the song. And once again, wherever you put that in the middle of the set somewhere, I want you to vamp on the chorus, just you singing. That's it. And just be like, just announce the song by going, thunder only happens when it's raining. And then just give it a beat. Let everybody just stop talking and understand what you did, and then sing the next line. And then do that whole chorus. And then, when the rain washes you clean, you'll know. And then a second, you'll know, boom, 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 kick in like that. And so we had this whole conversation. Janelle I'm at Janelle's place. I'm giving, so she's hearing the conversation from my side of the phone. So we go up to Chicago. Dana, she doesn't do everything we talked about. Okay.
Nice.
Like, first of all, balls, right? Like, it's guts to just go and try so very big show for her. Doesn't know me from a can of paint, but what we talked about made sense. So she goes and she tries to incorporate it. Starts out a cappella. Everybody just shut up and paid attention to her. She went and rocked through a whole bunch of original songs. And then now I brought up my camera just because they didn't have anybody there. I'm like, I'm going to get some footage of this just for you. Just because you're gonna need it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so I'm running around doing that, and then she kicks into Dreams, and she does that
Yeah.
whole thing, dude. She gets through uh, half of the first line. The whole crowd is singing with her, and then the whole crowd a cappella with her sings that chorus. And
Nice.
then the band kicks in and the energy comes up, and then the whole crowd sings the whole song.
Nice.
Right? Like, there you go again. You say you want your freedom, and everybody's singing it. And she just elevates off the stage. Like, she just floats up off the
Yeah.
stage. Okay. And then I remember I'm working my way around to like the backstage area, and this club is sort of like an upstairs, like blocked off upstairs thing where another bar and dressing rooms are and everything. And Janelle comes running down. She did it. Oh my God. I got my hair standing up. It was so cool. And then we just shared this on social media, but there was a blogger there that saw her, and it was like something, it was the greatest review. And it was something like, local hero just crushes it. It's not often you get in front of a cold audience like that and get everybody sing along with you. He said something about that.
Yeah.
And so, wow, super great. But anyway, after the show, we're talking, or the next night we went out to dinner and we were just kind of talking, and then they bring up Bill O'Hanlon.
Of course
and I'm like,
they do.
you know Bill O'Hanlon? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, what the hell? This guy is everywhere. Like,
That's so funny.
he is a master networker. So Bill O'Hanlon, slow clap from me, brother. Like, you are everywhere. You know,
That's
that was
hilarious.
so cool. But anyway, all right, let's get on with this, dude. I had to share that story. That was
all right, Johnny. So great
so cool.
episode. So that was a good one, man. Thanks for being here. And y'all, just we exist because we want you to win. So okay, all right, let's get into this. All right, so looking back over 300 episodes, at some of these just quotes that like, oh, I still agree with me. And so we just figure we'll dive into these and just kind of riff on them a little bit. But so stick around because, well, obviously you don't know what's coming. So, so this is in the Wayback Machine, episode 19. I don't even know what the name of the episode was. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. Episode 19. The quote is, wait till you got something great. Demo the song that's great. Wait till you got something great. Demo the song that's great. That's the thing, man. I think, and I may do a whole episode on this, but like good songs are way too expensive. Good songs are way too expensive because if you demo good songs, well, then they're not going to get cut, right? Your good songs don't get cut by someone else if you're a songwriter aiming to other people. So there you're in the hole. You spent money that you're not going to make back. That's expensive. And then if you pitch good songs, that takes a slot of what could be a great song. And it tarnishes your reputation. It doesn't make it shine. Gets a little dust on there. Like, yeah, it was good. It's fine. It doesn't move you forward. At the worst, it could make you go backwards because then they start thinking of you're just, he's a good songwriter. Yeah, he's good. Or she's good. She's good. Fine. Uh-oh. That's major red flags. You would be like, oh, they're phenomenal. And you don't get to phenomenal by just playing good songs, right? Now, if they're the best you got, and it's that first, in the first stage rocket where it's going to fall off the back as you climb, then that's one thing. But you want to wait till you have something great. I mean, you don't need to spend your time and your money and your resources and all this stuff demoing mediocre songs or just good songs. For one thing, if you are blessed to write with a hit writer, great writer, someone who really knows their stuff, and then you're pushing to demo the song that's just good, they don't really love that because that's their money too. They got to kick in on it. So if you're going to pay for the whole thing, great. It's still not going to get cut, and you're in twice as deep. But it shows a other writer that, well, you just don't know where the bar is yet. If they don't love it, or may put them in an awkward situation where their publisher doesn't want to cut it or demo it because it's not great. And so now they're stuck between you and their publisher, and that's not a place they want to be in. So that lowers your chance of getting into the room with them again because they don't want to have that awkwardness again. So you want to wait till you have something great. And of course, what is great? That's a whole other episode, right? But you want to demo the song that's great. The good songs, great. Move on, because that's time you could spend writing the great one. So that's one thing. That's from episode 19. Still
I gotta interject. I gotta ask a question. I want to ask you a question, actually. So Is there some kind of tool, and there may be no answer for this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But over time, from working, being a writer, being an artist, being in the industry, hearing boatloads of songs, you start to get um, a perspective, I guess
Mm-hmm.
would be the best word, and you start to be able to understand the difference between a mediocre song, a good song, and a great song,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, is there a tool or something like, because you said that's for another episode, I think that would be a
Mm-hmm.
good episode to have. Like, how do you, how do you know? Like, because I think when it comes to, people who are earlier in their journey, artists and songwriters, and I always think of songwriters as artists anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but as they're earlier in their journey, like, is there some way to fast track that perspective? Is there some kind of tool or some sort of set of basic blueprint where you can say, "Hey, look,
Well,
this is the
good
difference"?
question. And so it rung a bell with me. So I went and looked up our episode list. We actually talk about this way on episode 17 and 19 from
Oh, wow.
2016. 8 questions to ask yourself before you demo that song. So,
Okay. Well,
boys
there
and
we
girls,
go.
climbers, episode
Now you have a
17.
place to go.
Well, what do you know? Episode 19. So that is the one that we just pulled from. We talk about that in that episode. So,
Okay.
but it's one. So just to not go as in depth as 2 episodes did, but one thing I ask is, am I going to pitch this? Like, really? Is this really going to be like something that makes for me as a writer the difference? Like, am I actually going to pitch this song or not? Is it beating something that I already have that hasn't been cut yet that I'm pitching actively, or is it just going to sit in the catalog? If it doesn't beat what I have, or come up beside it, fill a gap beside it, does it do something a little different than what I already have, or is it better than what I already have? If it's not, that means why am I spending money on backups? Right? when my
Yeah.
when my starters aren't getting it done. I mean, sometimes you're like, well, if it's really close, it might just be a different flavor that's for somebody else. But that's one of the things I look at is like, am I real? Like, who am I going to go pitch this to? Am I
Yeah.
fired up to go pitch this right now? And who am I going to pitch it to? If not, it's not as big of a priority. So,
And of course, this
episode
conversation
17
is
and
sort of
19.
predicated on the idea that you have to go spend money to get it done, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're a track person,
Mm-hmm. But still, that's time. And those people that are track people, they end up running into that because it's easier for them to get co-writes because they have an additional value that they bring. People look at like, oh, I write with you and I get a free demo. But
yeah,
you write for a morning, half a day, and maybe it's been like 2 other days doing the track and the demo and getting it all lined out. So what you're putting a
mhm,
half a day into, they're putting like 3 days into, or at least 2 days, or the rest of that day. And that's expensive
right,
because that's time they could spend writing. And that's a line they have to walk because sometimes they just need to say no. Like, "Ah, man,
yeah,
I'm really not feeling that one. I really don't think they're not going to be as productive. They're going to take 2 days to work on it when they could have just hopefully written a great song with you or with somebody else. So even
yeah,
that, there's time cost. So you got to pay attention to it. But yeah, it does change the math some if you can. Like, that's where I'm doing have some interns, and after Bill Clinton, you can't say I'm doing some interns. You got to say I have some interns, um, and that's one of the things some of the interns are doing for me is doing demos and stuff. And it does take some time still because you'll have your weekly meeting and you'll talk about it and stuff. But it's a minimal time investment. But it's some songs that maybe
yeah,
are niche specific or something that just, they mean something to me, and I want to give them a shot. I want to have a version for myself. So.
yeah.
So you want to demo stuff. That's great. All right. Second one is from, let's see where. Oh, I got to get back over there. Let's see. It's from episode 21, and it says to get a cut, the right song needs to hit the right ears at the right time. The right
Mhm,
song has to hit the right ears at the right time. So that's what we named this episode after, and it's true. Rarely is it just one shot, one cut. One pitch, one cut. Sometimes it works that way probably because then who to get it to. You know who the right ears are. You know the right time is, and it's the right song. That comes from experience and that sort of thing.
mhm,
But usually you had to pitch a song a bunch of times. I mean, Monday Morning Church was on hold for Leanne Womack and for Terry Clark before Alan cut it. Crickets had been passed
Terry Clark
on.
too? Wow.
Yeah, she'd had it on hold. Yeah, she had it on hold. And the night I got the call, or the morning actually, from Aaron that Terry didn't cut it, is when we found out that Alan put it on hold. Like, Terry didn't cut it, but Alan Jackson put it on hold. I'm like, I don't know what to do with these emotions. So
it's a lateral pass. Yeah.
I'm just, boy, it's like I thought we were about to get a sweep around the side and get some good yardage, and then to throw it back to the quarterback. I'm like, oh, they're going for a trick play. This could be a touchdown. What's going on? I don't know what to do. So
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and Joe Nichols on Crickets. Now, I pitched it to his label head at the time, Mark Wright, over on Universal South, and he passed on it. Mark's had a bunch of hits, so hey, he knows what he's doing, but it didn't get to Joe. And then eventually Joe changed record labels, went over to Red Bow, which is under Broken Bow. And then I pitched it to Benny Brown, the head of the label over there at the time, and Benny dug it. And we got a cut.
Yeah.
Right ears, right time. So that's often the story of a cut. So, I mean, probably every cut I've had that wasn't an artist co-write had to find the right song, right ears, right time.
Yeah, and how about let's add one more to that, the right brand. You know what I mean? Well, like for a song. Yes. I mean, I go
part
back
of the right song. Yes. But
I guess you're right. Yeah.
But that's good to pull that out. That's part of what makes it the right song, is that it's on brand for an artist.
Like one of my favorite country songs from one of my, like, just admittedly, like one of my least favorite country artists. I am not a huge Kenny Chesney fan by any stretch. I'm just not. He's just not my guy. You know what I mean?
Not your lane.
Like nothing against, not my. He just doesn't. Not my bag, baby. He doesn't blow my skirt up. You know what I mean? But American Kids is an awesome freaking knockdown, drag out, smash hit song. Yeah. I love that song, and you can find it regularly placed on my personal playlist, juxtaposed between Lynch Mob and Whitesnake and Van Halen, not Van Hagar, Van Halen. Okay. But because I love that song, Lady A was originally pitched to Lady A and they passed on it. So here's the situation where great freaking song, wrong set of ears. Like they're just like, that's not their brand. It wasn't something that they were going to do. And rightly so, so it's kind of about, is that song the right artistic pair of pants for the artist on this particular record? Because maybe that song would have been absolutely cut on the last record.
That's right.
But now they're changing. Look at different stuff like Jason Aldean's done from the first record to the second record to the third record, and how they're changing the sonic and the vibe and the sort of thing. It all sort of flows in there. So it's being on cue with that too. Just keep that in mind. I just say that to keep writers from being so self-traumatizing on I didn't get a cut of it, whatever. I guess that doesn't work. I suck. Or no, maybe it's a great song and you just haven't gotten it in front of the right person yet. That's all.
Exactly.
Because
or it's not the right time. So I was I did a hang interview, which is something I try to do on a regular basis over at songwritingpro.com. So I'll bring in a pro in some area of the business and chat with them for 30 minutes or so and record it and try to extract as much wisdom from them as possible. And so I was talking to Eric Torres. He produced some of the early Jimmy Allen stuff, and so real integral in Jimmy Allen's launch. So Jimmy, if you don't know him, he's a hit country artist. And we're talking about songs being on brand. And he said, hey, some of my friends will send me a song like, hey, can you play this for Jimmy? I'm like, well, send it to me. And he goes, it may be a great song, but it sounds like something like, I don't know, Chris Stapleton would do, or it sounds like something Jamie Johnson would do. And I don't even play it for Jimmy because it's not what Jimmy does. It's not his lane. And so they're like, hey, do you play what Jimmy say? He's like, dude, I'm not playing that for him. It's not his brand. It's not what he does. Doesn't matter how good the song is. It's not what he does. Yeah. So there's a real world. There's the producer not playing the song for the artist, even though it might be a really great song. But it's not for that artist. So he's not going to waste his time pitching him something that's off brand. It's just like, dude, I can't do it. I'm sorry. And that was for a friend. He's like, he's got a friend. So that's an awkward conversation. He's like,
I mean, on a sort of real world outside the music business analogy. That's like going to like the head of a biker gang with some clothing options and be like, here's a pink frilly thing with the boa, like a feather,
Right.
sparkly rainbow
Yeah.
colored boa. What do you think? Like this could be like the coolest jacket ever made, but
Mhm.
that guy doesn't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
Well, it's like, just
Not his brand,
not his brand, or it could be like this really, masculine, but more like GQ, suit.
Yeah, yeah,
It could be like, oh, like you're balling on Wall Street or something.
yeah,
Well, okay, but that's for a different dude than this dude. Not when he's
yeah,
climbing on the back of the Harley. Like,
yeah.
no, it's quality. It could be a
Doesn't care.
$3,000 suit. That's
Doesn't
quality,
Yeah,
but
not
it's
my
not.
bag, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna end up with bugs in it. I don't care.
Yeah.
So exactly. So right song have to hit the right ears at the right time.
There you go.
All right, let's move on here. Let's hit number. Just bouncing around here a little bit. What's a good one here? So, all right. So here's from episode number 59. Every line in your song is important. Every line needs to point to the theme, idea, and vibe of the song. Every line has a job to do. All right. So this is where, you just go through, and as you're writing the song, a lot of times they say, right to the hook, right to the hook, right to the hook. With your hook being your title, and a lot of times your title will encompass the theme of the idea.
Mhm.
And so every line I've had people say, like, every line I should be able to say the title after it, and it makes sense. Kind of
Oh,
like, or
interesting.
every
Yeah.
thought, like, I was in my early 40s with a lot of life before me when a moment came to stop me on a dime. Live like you were dying. Oh, okay. It makes,
Yeah.
you can see how it relates to that.
Yeah.
Spent most of the next days looking at the x-rays, talking about the options, talking about sweet time. Live like you were dying.
Like you were
That's
dying.
right on top. I went skydiving. Live like you were dying. I went Rocky Mountain climbing. Live like you were dying. You can look at every line of that song. Or
You know what that's like? That's like playing the in-bed game at a Chinese restaurant.
the fortune cookie game. Yes.
With the fortune cookie. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
you read every fortune and then you end it with in bed.
In bed.
Right.
Right.
And that's super. But do that with the
Mhm.
title and just see if it works.
Each of those
If it
thoughts,
doesn't,
are they aiming at that title, that theme of the song? And so when
yeah.
you don't do that, and you realize, oh well, this second verse kind of veers off into, I don't know, a subplot or some tangent, it takes away from the power of the song. It may confuse the listener, going, wait, what's going on now? What? Or so it's going to confuse them, or just lessens the power of your song because it's not all pulling in one direction. It's like basically what you're doing is you have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're kind of tapping the brakes when you get off theme. So how well does that work?
Yeah.
One foot on the gas, one foot on the brake. No. So every line of your song is important. They all matter. And you want to make sure they all point to that theme of that idea. So that's a good exercise to do. If you're not sure about it, just take one of your lyrics and just every line, just go, okay, how's this relate? How's this relate? And sometimes it may take more than one line to get there because it's, you got to complete the thought. And this thought is all about that. But you want to make sure everything points in the same direction. All right.
Love that.
Yep. Let's see here. This is from episode 79. So we're bouncing around, getting close to 100. All right. People have to know you as a writer to offer you opportunities. People have to know you as a writer to offer you opportunities. So we touched on the craft some. We touched on plugging. This is another relationship part, So, I can't tell you how many opportunities I've had that have come to me because my phone rang, because somebody suggested me to somebody else, because somebody came looking for me. Ones that I didn't create myself. In a sense, I created the environment by getting out there, writing the best songs I can, meeting as many people as possible, and then eventually opportunities start coming your way. That push starts to become a pull, I guess. But yeah, if they don't know, it's the know, like, and trust thing. They can't like you or trust you if they don't know you exist. So
Yeah.
I've gotten publishing deals this way because when I was looking around and put the word out that, hey, I'm looking for a pub deal, whatever. Eventually, like I remember at Writers Infinity, I got that one because my phone rang because I think maybe Brandon Kinney and Lisa Schaefer had both mentioned me to somebody like to the plugger or somebody over there, like, hey, Brent's looking for a thing. Oh, really? What's going on with him? They had this whole conversation about me. And then my phone rings. I didn't even know that this company was around or looking for a writer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's because people knew me. It wasn't an opportunity that I created. I want to say like a couple of my pub deals were that way. I think RPM was that way too. I didn't know anyone over there. And then like I got reached out to by Sam Ramage, or somebody's like, hey, you need to call Sam over there at RPM. Oh, okay. And so it wasn't a thing that I knocked on the door cold. It was somebody suggested them, or, co-write opportunities. Hey, you should write with this artist, or, hey, write with this, you want to write, I can bring in this artist, or I can bring in this producer or whatever. Great. But they couldn't have offered that opportunity to me if they didn't know me. So what are you doing, Climber, to get your name out there, to get your songs out there, other than blowing us up in the Climb community, right, on Facebook? Other than that, what are you doing to share your work and your name and your brand as a creative so people know you exist, so that if you can solve a problem for them, then they can
Yeah.
call you? So
Yeah.
it's a huge part of it.
I
And that's
know. I have a friend. I have a friend, like a good friend of mine, who I've known for a number of years, and um, I mean, check this out. Like, just found out recently that he's a songwriter.
okay. Oh, you just found out.
I just found
Oh, I
out.
thought you meant they just found out. Okay.
No, I just
So,
found out.
okay.
So he's not telling anybody, right?
Okay.
Like, because, but almost to the point of like being debilitating, I think.
Yeah.
Because uh, I think it's a fear. I think
Mm.
it's a protection racket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of like thrusting forward into, because he played me some of his stuff. I think he's got good instincts, competitive instincts. I think he understands how to put everything together. I think he needs to write with a lot more people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that those instincts will turn into more of a craft.
Yeah.
And so he's really good friends with another friend of mine who's sort of like a higher level songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
That person knows that he's a songwriter, and he's always trying to like kind of pound them to help him out, sort of skip class, skip,
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go from being a freshman to a senior. And it doesn't kind of work like that. But on that hand, so he's choosing not to hang out with other songwriters, not to engage, not to create relationships, not to network and everything
Mm-hmm.
like that. And that's hurting them, right? For the very things that you're saying, like where, number one, he's going to be improving his craft with writing within his class, so to
Yeah.
speak. And then two, those are the people that are going to do exactly what you're saying, that are going to, hey man, I got this guy over here. They're looking for a new writer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you should know about, I thought of you. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can't win if you don't play.
Exactly. I mean, do you want to be a songwriter, or do you want to have written songs? Like,
Yeah.
are you in it? If you're in it, you want to do it all the time. So, for example, Erin Enderlin. I mean, if I tried to skip class with her, because I wouldn't have had Monday Morning Church Cup by Alan Jackson go top 5, because she was younger than me. She also didn't have a publishing deal. She was ahead of me in some regards, but because she was in Murfreesboro, which is just outside of Nashville, and she was, writing with people, but I'm not sure if she was writing with anybody that had any cuts at that point or was signed. But she didn't have anything going on. So if I'd said, oh, I got this thing, I got this Monday Morning Church thing, and it's just so good, this idea that I'm not going to write it until I can write it with a hit songwriter, I wouldn't have taken to Aaron, and we wouldn't have written that hit together. So it's a good
Yeah.
thing I didn't skip class. You can't neglect your peer group. And because of knowing her, I was able to go out to her rounds and meet buddies like Anthony Oreo, and Anthony and I were just, hanging out this weekend on a boys, weekend. And we've been, just really
You
good
and
friends
Oreo?
it was really good to see him again. And so we've been
How's he
friends for
doing?
going on 20 years now,
Yeah.
because, I didn't neglect my peer group. And he's doing great. He's doing great. So just
I love that guy.
busting it. You know how he hustles. So yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
People have to know you as a writer to offer you opportunities to write with people, to pitch songs, that sort of thing. I mean, you ever get a call like, hey, you got anything for so-and-so? You're not going to get those calls if they don't know you're a writer. They're not going to say, hey,
Yeah.
I don't know. Keith Urban's looking. You got anything for Keith Urban? You're not going to get that call if they don't know you write or don't know you exist or don't know what you do. Why would they call you? So
Yeah. I mean, I've hung out with this buddy of mine I've known him for a couple of years now. He's a really great guy. He's a really, I consider him a good friend. I'm like, how do I not know this?
yeah.
What the hell? Like what's going on?
Yeah, I know. It's like, how could you have helped him? But you didn't because not that you wouldn't have wanted to. He didn't
Yeah.
provide you with what you needed to help him.
I mean, yeah, if I'm gonna be if I'm gonna be open a handyman business and I got all the tools and I got the skill set and I can go in and help you, remodel your kitchen, but I don't let you know, I'm not gonna get any business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, come on, man.
Oh, so true. So true. All right, let's see here. Let's look at another one here. So, this is from episode 285. So, we're taking a big old jump. But episode 285 says building your relationships provides information and access. So, this is another thing about, know, like, and trust. You want to, 3 steps to songwriting success: write great songs, build strong relationships, repeat. And part
Right.
of that is because building relationships provides information and access. For example, I've had some cuts up in Canada with Gord Bamford. And how did I get on those records? Well, it came through a relationship with Byron Hill. Byron was producing Gord at the time. Byron's a Hall of Fame songwriter. And when we were doing homework, like I kind of, weasel my way onto that, like, Byron, I'd love to write with you and Gord. What's he looking for? Can I provide value? Let me send you some ideas. Let me earn my way into the writing room with this. And so, Byron had trusted me, know, like, and trust by that point. I'd cleared those hurdles. So he's like, yeah, let's do this. And he told me what kind of stuff Gord was looking for. Hey, he wants to go a little bit edgier. He wants to that he's done in the past. And I think that's what we're looking for this record. Great. So I go and I woodshed and I have some ideas and run them past Byron. And he likes When Your Lips Are So Close. I'm trying to write with that kind of edge of what Gord is doing, which is a little bit of a departure from what he's done before. And so we kind of get that ball rolling. We bring in Gord. We all write the song together. But from that seed of going, this might be what he needs. So there's the information, there's the access, and it becomes a CCMA single of the year. I wouldn't have had that. If one thing, if I just pitched, because they cut a lot of their own stuff. The Gord's a good writer, and so he cuts a lot of stuff that he writes. But so I wouldn't have been in that room, and I might have just brought something that was more like what he's done in the past.
Yeah.
And I did bring in some of those, and he cut them too, but they weren't the big single. So that's what relationships provides: information, access. You see a lot of the same names on a lot of the songs, and you're like, man, rich get richer. How is Shane McAnally on every song? How's Josh
Guess it's a
Osborne on
closed
every
club.
song?
You gotta be Shane.
Right.
Step 1, be Shane McAnally. Step 2,
Right,
be Shane
exactly.
McAnally.
So, well, first of all, they're on there because they're great writers. Okay, they're
Yep.
great writers and they're smart writers. They know how to write a hit, which is different than just writing a well-crafted song. We're trying to get songs that are moving people's career forward, so they're really good at that. But then also because they've had success, they get in more rooms, they have more credibility. They're at the events where they can meet more people and more people know them. And we talked about how they have to know you as a writer to bring you opportunities. So that's the thing. It ratchets it up. It's not just a closed good old boy network, but it is people like to work with people they know, like, and trust. And so once you kind of get a toehold in there, get that door open a little bit, it's easier to get more of that if you're professional and you follow through and you keep earning your reputation. Because it's like the rent on your reputation is due every right. And they keep coming through. So
Ooh,
people keep.
that's a T-shirt.
There you go. That's another quote. Going to get a quote from the episode about quotes. But
The
that's
rent
part
from
of the
your
reason.
reputation is due on every right.
Right. And that's part of how they keep end up on so many songs is, one, they're really good, so they work at it. 2, they know the difference between a good song and a commercial song. And 3, every bit of leverage they use to meet more people, build more credibility, get in more rooms, write more songs. So I call it the upward spiral of the music business. You've seen people on a downward spiral, which is usually like blame, excuses, don't work as hard. That's the downward spiral that leads you to failure in the music business. But the upward spiral is, writing the best songs you can, meeting as many people as you can, working, being professional, being humble, being likable. It's, so they can know, like, and trust you. And then that gets you into some different rooms, maybe some little higher level rooms. And you go in there and you do your best. And that's going to get you in some other rooms because they're going to know some more people. And maybe they bring in an artist and you're on this upward spiral. And it's hard to get, we're all spinning one way or the other. And so, but once you start making excuses, getting bitter, that leads to people don't want to be around you as much. I mean, I don't want to be around negative people because this business is too negative anyway. There's too much rejection. It's like, I got to protect myself from that because otherwise you'll drag me down your negative spiral with you. So, as soon as you start, unless we're like really good buddies that I'm going to, try to help you. If you're just somebody who's out there, but you're being negative or you're not working hard, it's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because I got 5 kids to feed. I
Yeah.
can't be going down after you. So anyway.
And you're never above the hustle, man.
No.
I think of the Diane Warren story after she's a massive, hugely, godlike level hit songwriter. And still she's hustling to get in the same elevator with Cher to pitch her a song.
Yeah. And that kind of hustle is why she's
not going to rely on like her fame or her name or even her people in this instance to pitch something to her. She wanted to go face to face, had an opportunity and went and did that. She's not above the hustle. You know what I mean?
That's right.
She's like, no, I'm Diane frickin' Warren. Cher should be coming to me. No. It's like, hey, Cher, check I think this song might be for you. And bada boop, bada bing, it's another cut that she gets that's amazing. So it's always working.
Yeah, love it. All right, last one we'll do is from episode 287. It says, be financially smart. Don't spend more money than necessary. Otherwise, your songs will have to work harder to generate more money. All right, so you've ever heard the phrase, feast or famine? Well, the music business is mostly like fast or famine, but there are a few feasts thrown in there. And so one mistake that some writers make, if they get that first hit, that first major cut, is they up their lifestyle, to equal that level of success. Yeah. But you know what? Most of us don't maintain that level of success. You may have that one that pops up and then maybe 5, 10, never before you get another one.
Yeah.
And so if you all of a sudden jacked up your lifestyle, that means, oh man, my baseline, the nut I have to cover every month just went up like 3 times as much. But the royalty statements are dwindling back down. They're on a downward trajectory. My floor has been raised. I might have to go get a job sooner than I would have otherwise. The common wisdom is you get that first major cut, that first hit, bank it, pretend like you didn't get it. Just bank it as much as you can. Or get rid of debt. You do it, in other words, to lower your floor that you have to make, not raise it.
Yeah.
That's what
I remember like one of the best business lessons I ever learned was that overhead is a reality and sales are a fantasy.
That's right. Yeah.
Overhead is a reality. Sales are a fantasy. That is true for all businesses. And when businesses, they have to understand this too. This being a good business person, right? We have to be careful when we hire. We have to be careful when, we have to cut before the curve. Like if we know we're going to go down on revenue, we got to start laying people off before that. Otherwise the business doesn't survive.
Right.
It's the way to, it's just good business. And I think, what was it that, Bono was always sort of famous for saying, man, don't go get the big mansion until the live album comes out, right? Because if you can do enough major label studio records to get to the point where you're going to be able to sell a live album and have a big enough brand to sell a live album, at that point, you've got some steady revenue now that's going to be coming in with the publishing and all that and the radio spins that's going to keep you going. But until then, don't do it. And another story I think about real quick is Zakk Wylde, Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player. this dude is a monster businessman.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know it, you know what I mean? But I remember him like being, like a 7-figure dude, man, making $1 million a year or more with when he was with Ozzy, touring with Ozzy,
Mm-hmm.
all the co-writes and stuff like that, and getting publishing and that whole deal and blah blah blah. And forever he lived in this like little $500,000 house in the
Mm-hmm.
valley and did not get the big mansion
Mm-hmm.
and was just banking everything. And now that cat lives up like um, north of the valley in I forget the name of the city now, but it's just like 35 minutes north of LA. And he's got his own label.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Black Label Society is a business that is running and it's not loaded with debt. He wasn't out, buying huge mansions, super fast cars, and BS like that. He just, man, he kept that like blue collar lifestyle.
Yeah.
And now he's done so many amazing things like with his brand because he had the money to do it,
Yeah.
like he didn't
Yeah.
have to ask somebody else. So brilliant man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's the opposite story from most people who hit a good lick in the music business. And what I look at it is, you know what, me being able to go to Music Row and write songs or hop on Zoom, these days and write songs with people. That's my vacation. That's my
Yeah.
lavish vacation. But I just get to do it every day or most days, or that getting to hear my song on the radio. Oh my gosh. Or just hear a great demo back and not and getting to do that instead of going to a sales gig or going to the cubicle. That's my big house.
Yeah.
That's the lifestyle I want. Be able, when people say, "What do you do?" I'm a songwriter. you know, that's that's my big screen
That feels
TV.
good. Yeah.
That's my stuff. Instead of the physical things, which will often take you out of the business because we're going to hit those down times. If you're blessed, if you get the cut, you're not guaranteed the highs, you are guaranteed the lows. Those are going to happen. And so if you don't build it in a way where it's sustainable, where you can outlast those droughts, then you're going to have to go do something else. And then you have less time to write yourself out of that drought. You have less maybe credibility in some people's eyes to go, oh, he had to go do that thing, oh, you're not really around. Oh, hey, you want to go write today? Say if they know you, right? And they bring an opportunity, then man, I mean, one thing that, full disclosure, like after I'm trying to remember if I took no, I was still writing at Writers Infinity when we wrote When Your Lips Are So Close. It takes a while for it to come out, right? And I was
Yeah.
in a sales gig by the time it came out because I lost a publishing deal. The investor got out of the business. So it's not like I
Mhm.
lost a publishing deal. The publishing deal went away. So
Yeah.
the whole publishing company went away. But at that point, we got a couple kids. It's time to go, like, you know, kind of go make some steady income, just save my marriage basically. And so went and did that and did the sales gig. And then I have the song blowing up in Canada. And it's not change your life, quit your job money either, but it's a leverage point. We're talking about creating leverage in the music business. And then there are other opportunities that I couldn't take advantage of because I was so busy day jobbing, you
Yep.
know? And and that just it
Based on
broke
the
my
heat
heart
from
and
that,
ticked me off.
based on the heat from that number one that you had in Canada.
Exactly. I could have been getting rights for one thing, all over Canada,
Yeah.
either traveling up there or when people are coming down or whatever. It's like, well, I got to do this gig from like 8 to 5:30 or 6 by the time I get home. Family time, got to do that because that's otherwise it ain't worth it if I lose that. And
Yep.
so unless I take a day off here and there to do a targeted right, but there's so much more I could have been doing. And I lost
Yep.
a lot of that momentum. And so, of course, now I'm back in it. I'm full time in it, but I've had to, build some of that traction. A lot of people know those. So I'm writing with a guy here in a couple hours that was like, "Oh my gosh, I love that song. We used to cover that song in our shows." A Canadian producer and some of his artists like, "Oh, we covered that song," or "I used to hear that
Our
song."
lips are so close.
Yeah, or like, "Man, we used
Nice.
to hear that song every night on tour because we did a tour with Gord." Blah blah blah. And so it's still relevant, but I lost some of that momentum because I was having a day job. Now,
Yep.
what can you do to build your lifestyle in a way that You don't have to go do that. So if something pops, you can take advantage of it. I feel very blessed that I've been able to get back in the business, and I've had cuts since I've gotten back in, and have the time and the flexibility to take advantage of that. And I just thank the Lord, He's blessing us with 5 kids, that Songwriting Pro, the C.L.I.M.B, and songwriting somehow has covered all that. I hustle, I work my butt off, but I'm able to go
Well,
take
it's
a
all
ride.
been intentional. It's been a very intentional move.
Yes.
To get you back to where you are.
Yeah. And we don't have a lavish lifestyle because, again, and I tell my wife and I've explained to her, me being able to go pick up the boys every day at 3:00 when they get out of school, that's part of our bigger house. That's part of our nicer car because I'm home. So when they're off school, I'm home till they go to bed, that sort of thing. Hey, that's part of it. That's part of our lifestyle, is the flexibility that comes from having these jobs. Then once in a while, I'm going to go on writing trips, or I may have this or that. But most of the time, I'm home a lot more than dudes that are like day jobbing it.
Yep.
And so that's part of the lifestyle. So again, just look at your money, look at your finances. What do you want? Do you want to have the car that says like, oh, he must be a successful songwriter? Or but you're working a day job? Or do you want to have, the used car that's not going to turn a bunch of heads, but you know what? You get to go drive that to a co-ride today. I don't care what I show up to the co-ride in.
That's right.
I'll ride a skateboard there if I have to. And I'm tall. I do not have a good center of gravity. I will ride a skateboard there if I need to get me to the co-ride rather than driving a freaking, I don't know, whatever, some whip.
I'm trying to picture that right now.
Day job.
You want a skateboard.
Yeah, not good. Never has been good.
Head turn backwards, crouch down. Yeah,
not good. Not good at all.
Shooting down Music Row.
If I have to, dadgummit, I will. So I'd rather do that than drive a whip to a cubicle.
There you go.
So anyway, those are some of the quotables, I think, and some of the lessons, just looking back over 300 episodes. If you found value from this, go back and check out some of the old episodes. It's not just the new stuff. Now the audio quality is going to vary over the 300 episodes. And
that's called just making it happen, people.
Yeah, exactly. We got in and got started, and we're constantly fixing as we go. But I would encourage you, go back, listen to those episodes. And I've been pulling from my episodes, but Johnny's episodes, there's so many of those. It'd be like going in a time capsule and reading the Nostradamus predicting the future on some of those old episodes, the even numbered ones that Johnny does. There's so much value there. Go back and listen. Don't just listen to the new one that comes out. Go find some time and go dig through the archives. So much of it is, I think, really helpful for you as a singer, a songwriter, or an indie artist. So that's what I wanted to share today.
Love it, love it, love it. You should plug your book.
That's right. So thank you for being here, for listening. I have a gift for you. It's right now, what we're doing is, and this is going to change over time. So if you go to songwritingpro.com//gift, or just go to songwritingpro.com, look at the top toolbar, it says free gift. Right now, it's over 5 hours of video content, a sneak peek into the Songwriting Pro member area. Now, what I find is that people don't actually watch all that. So we're probably going to pare it down a little bit and just distill it even a little bit more, but it's a free preview. And then we also let you know about what else is going on in the community, what kind of opportunities we have going on. Right now, we have something great going on with Leah Turner, who's a rising artist, mixing Latin and country music. She just did a guest editorial on the new issue of American Songwriter to bring it all full circle with Dave Grohl on the cover. She was the guest editor. She's making things happen. We're looking for songs for her because Ray and I know her, and Johnny knows her. We've had her on the podcast. We're looking for songs for her. And so you can find out about opportunities like that. So hopefully you can start on that climb yourself. So anyway, songwritingpro.com/gift. I got a freebie there for you. Just tell me where to send it. I'll send it to you. We'll hook you up, and we're happy to make that happen for you.
There you go, guys. That brings us to the end of another Killer Climb episode. Make sure that you subscribe or follow the podcast. Tell a friend about it, okay? If you're getting value out of this, if you listen this long, for crying out loud, You're not doing it out of the goodness of your heart because you're trying to support local podcasts or something. You're doing it because you're getting something out of it. So tell somebody about it and help us help you help them. That's the whole deal. This podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.